What is the change that you're asking? A modification, a slight distortion, or, as in my case, a revolution. Hi, this is Peter Hislop, and this podcast is called Shift. And I've been an executive coach for longer than I care to calculate, but that's put me in the boardrooms and offices of directors, CEOs, wannabe CEOs, and people who surround the CEOs. And it's taught me about how power moves, how words can freeze the momentum of an organisation, where words can dumb it down, where words can just completely dilute any kind of excitement. We all talk of transformation and innovation, but why does change so often fail? We've studied it, monetarized it, we've gamified it, and yet most executive teams look like a group of tired gladiators on a conference call. They're not changing, they're coping. We've been taught we can sit in comfort zones. The change is voluntary, except we all want to buy the newest phone. We all want to have the newest app. But change itself, the way we look at it, is voluntary. If effort and effectiveness are the core requirements of executives, why on earth did we decide that numbers only would be used to define their worth? Empathy doesn't appear on a spreadsheet. It can't. The judgment that an executive uses can't be graphed. The courage that they bring to a decision, to a movement, to a leadership act can't be a quarterly target. It's like trying to weigh a poem. So change becomes a buzzword. It becomes a word that we use so that we don't have to use any other words. It's easy. But imagine if change were banned in your company, that no one could ever use the word change again. And if they did, they'd have to put $2 in the meaning jar. Suddenly, we'd feel real words again. We would have to find them and use them as descriptions of what we were trying to do. Instead of there's going to be a new change program, we could hopefully say we're changing the way customers feel they're treated. We're changing the way we talk to customers. We're realigning our purpose. We're evolving our leadership. Now that could mean something. Every time we use lazy language, we dull our instinct for truth, but most importantly, we also dull our instinct for action. We live in a world we call complex, almost proudly call it complex. Senior leadership talks about how complex and ambiguous it is to lead large organisations, but they spend half their time creating PowerPoints, none of which could possibly describe or evidence the complexity and ambiguity of what they're trying to do. What if every solution then that is presented in the executive levels has to list before its conclusion all the assumptions that were identified, tested, reassessed, reformed, rewritten in order to come with the new solution? That impact on the solutions would be extraordinary. And imagine the learning. That's how we used to grow, through curiosity and risk. Now we just skip to slides and scripts. Imagine if instead of PowerPoints on a particular issue, we caused executives to build balsam models of it, and they could all sit around the table, pointing. At least they would all know that they're looking at the same thing. They could walk around looking at the solution from every angle, they could touch it, they could trot it, but at least they would all know that it was the same thing. We have allowed change to be the opt word because comfort is seductive. We've confused ease with progress. We hide insecurity and avoid the work of growth. We have lowered the bar and we've had the nerve to call it self-care. Greatness doesn't come from easy. It comes from friction, from risk, from the courage to be wrong and the courage to learn. Now here's your shift. Stop pretending you don't know the reason that you wrap yourself in comfort. You do. I want you to take it out and own it. And as a personal aside, some of you know that I was homeless and a blithering drunk for a long time. It was only when I was describing myself as a piece of crap in society to a nurse, describing myself as a third-rate human being needing to die very quickly, she then said, or you just need to stop drinking. And I did. Wasn't easy, but I did. That's the immediacy of a wow moment. That's shift. The reason that I hadn't up until that time was because being homeless and in the gutter was comfortable, until she said it wasn't. This is Peter Hislop, and you've been listening to Shift. Today, I hope I made you uncomfortable enough to squirm, because if you didn't squirm, you probably weren't listening. Before you go, remember this. Change doesn't begin with an initiative. It begins with a sentence. It begins with a wow moment, spoken truthfully. It begins with language that matters. Words don't hide behind acronyms, but they invite action, because language creates reality. The reality you live in tomorrow depends on the words you use today. We crave the invisible conductor, the leader who we can see waving the baton, reminding us that there's still music. Use the language of nuance, not change. What is the change that you're asking? A modification, a slight distortion, or, as in my case, a revolution from drinking to not drinking. Stop pretending that you don't know the way out of your comfort zone. You do. The obstacle stopping you getting out of your comfort zone is the way out. So turn on the music, start dancing, and fight your way out of that comfort zone.